Hello, Blooms, and welcome to the Bloom Room with Amy E. Reichert and Heather Webb. We were all grooving to the music because it was so good. Our guest this week, who we're so excited to have, is Jessica Strawser. Yay!
Hey, Jess.
Hello.
Hi, ladies.
So
She's for having me.
Yes,
we're so glad you're here.
We love you, and we're super happy to have you here. So,
yes,
I love you guys. And normally, to be like mushy for a second, normally at this point on pub day, I would be like, because my book came out today. Normally at this point on pub day, I would be winding down my talk in a bookstore and getting ready to go out for some drinks with my friends and celebrate. And it's super sad not to be able to do that. But
you're here with us. So it's almost the same thing. Cheers.
Yes.
Happy pub day.
Happy pub day. Oh, I gotta go.
Thanks, guys. So this is it. This is my launch party. Because my family doesn't really appreciate what's happening here.
No,
they're at
mine doesn't ever care either. Mine's like, what's happening today?
That thing you worked on for a year is out now?
Like, are you ever going to get off the computer? That's like, Mom, are you done yet? Are you done? I'm like, honey, I wish I were done. I'm not done. Will I ever be done? Maybe not. Maybe not.
No.
It's yesterday my 9-year-old said, Mom, are you done texting your friends? And I'm like, I am replying to work email. Like I have to leave because they're not riding the bus this year because of contact tracing. I have to leave in the middle. I'm usually still working when I have to drive and get them from school. So then when I get home, I have to hop back on and Are you still texting your friends?
Happy pub day.
Thank you, Carla. She's so sweet. She always leaves the nicest comments.
She does.
Yay.
She's lovely. She's one of our tried and true.
Yes.
Yay. I want to just say, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm fresh off a week with all the tried and true blooms from hosting last week. And
right.
It was so fun. So
yes. So hopefully we'll get some people watching. And I just want to tell people a little bit who aren't familiar with you, who haven't been hanging out with you on Bloom for the past week. Today is your pub day for A Million Reasons Why, which did get a starred review from Booklist. Woo! I don't know. Has it had any other fabulous things that popped up?
An AP review.
You said something about an AP review.
Today I got a really good review from the Associated Press, and a whole bunch of newspapers were picking it up, like the Houston Chronicle and the San Francisco Chronicle.
Fantastic.
That was really
amazing.
cool. Yeah. So apparently we still have a functional wire service in this country. So that's kind of nice.
It is. It is. I did start actually following AP on Twitter because I find they are one of those places that actually just reports what's happening without editorial comments. And
well, this is very editorial because it's a review. But fortunately, she really liked it. So
yay! So congratulations.
Thanks.
Yay! Okay. So, moving along, are we ready for some very exciting poppy news?
Well, did you want to introduce us properly to Jessica for new viewers, or no?
Oh, I kind of, what do you mean? Introduce Jessica?
Okay, yes.
Kind of. She's a former editor of the Writer's Digest.
I missed that.
This is her 4th book. We talked about her book.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the very first time I met Jessica was at Books by the Banks, which is a wonderful book festival in Cincinnati, which I finally know how to spell. And
which is where I live.
Because it's where she lives. And I remember you came up to the table where I was and you introduced yourself and you said you were going to be having a book coming out. And then I think the next
fangirl.
You were so sweet. And then the next year we had tables close to one another. So it was awesome.
Know. Yeah,
so we've been friends ever since.
And I met Jessica through Writer's Digest, actually. Through the conference, I guess. And online as well-ish. this social media world of Wild West where you just meet new people all the time. Yeah. And we fell
and then go places with them.
Yeah, exactly. So shall we share the Poppy news? It's a small amount.
Poppy news!
Poppy news! So we don't have a ton this week. We had a very busy last couple of weeks with a lot of great news. So the big news this week is that we've said this the last 2 episodes, but we are finally moving from this page to our new page. It's still right here on Facebook. It's called areyouinbloom.com. There it is. So if you see that banner at the top of the page, you're in the right spot. And we are moving, as we said before, for a couple of reasons. One being that Facebook keeps messing with stuff behind the scenes so that you guys don't see our posts anymore and you don't see the information. So by moving to this new location, we're going to get to interact with you a lot more. And that's the fun part. I mean, that's why we have Bloom, is to be together, to make friends, to talk about books. So that's the big thing. And then you'll also be able to share posts. You can invite your friends. So it's just much more versatile. And we have several new features coming, which will be exciting. And then the last couple of things is to welcome you guys to move. We've talked about this a little bit. I've posted about it. Others have posted about it. There's going to be a mega giveaway next week on the new page. And it's hundreds of books, you guys. And I'm talking like some seriously amazing authors that are going to be donating books. So make sure you are there. Be there or be square. And then the week after that, we have an entire week of housewarming gifts. And they're really great gifts for bookish people like us. And not just books, but other fun prizes. So make sure you're there. Bring your friends. Tell your peeps. So that's the big news.
And then we do have a winner from last week's giveaway. Victoria Semple will win the copies of Victoria Shade's book and Rachel Mans McKenney's book. So we will be reaching out to you so that we can get your address and pass that along. So congratulations.
Yeah, enjoy the reads. And speaking of reads, Poppy reads, am I going to hit the thing or are you?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Yes, Bloom Room reads.
We are a very professional operation here, people.
We're extremely professional. Very clean.
It keeps going right over my face.
It does. I'm so sorry. I wonder if there's a way to... Anyway, we'll worry about that another day.
Okay, so I just got distracted by that. Read recommendations. Jessica, do you have something that you'd like to recommend that you've been reading recently, or?
I have one that I just got this. I have not started reading it yet, but I'm confident it's going to be good because I trust this author. Catherine Mackenzie's new thriller, 6 Weeks to Live.
Yeah.
And actually the reason that I got this is because, isn't it cool?
I love the cover. It's a good cover.
It's got this cool like water running down the window. I don't know if you can really see from home. There's a better look at it.
That's great.
The reason I got this is because she has asked me to host her in conversation at a virtual event for Joseph Beth Booksellers here in Cincinnati in May. So I'm super excited to read this so that I can talk to her about it at Joseph Beth. So I love her thrillers. They're so good.
I love Catherine's books too. I've
and
read
she's really nice.
She's fabulous. In fact, we're going to have her on the show in a couple months.
And I think she's participating in the big giveaway in Bloom.
I think you're right.
I want to say.
Yes, she is.
And she's also got, there's some kind of other giveaway that she's running right now where I think if you pre-order this, you get entered to win a whole bunch of stuff. So if you follow Catherine on social media, she's got it up everywhere right now.
Okay.
Cool.
Good. So you guys, that means that's a lot of opportunities to get your hands on a copy of that book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And also there's a bunch of pre-order incentives with lots of prizes that she's doing that Jessica was mentioning. So get on that. What about you, Amy? What are you reading?
I am reading Ayesha at Last by Uzma Jalal. Now I've been practicing how to say her name and I goofed it up. Uzma Jalaluddin. She has written a modern day retelling of Pride and Prejudice set in a Canadian Muslim community. It is so good. It's romantic. It's funny. And it's just really, really, really well done. And I don't want to do anything else. And I have a ton of stuff I'm supposed to be doing. And I just keep sneaking in chapters because it's so good. So
Oh my gosh,
highly recommend.
I would love to see her and Sonali Dave talk together about their reimaginings.
Yeah, they did. There's an event out there somewhere. Is there? Exactly that. I think so. If you Google Sonali and Uzma's name, you'll find it. And amazing. I get to do an event with Uzma for my new book. So I'm very excited.
And that cover, I just love that cover.
Isn't it great?
When I see it, I'm like, I need to get that book.
It's beautiful.
Is that like a glossy or a metallic?
Yeah. There's like
the gold is like a metallic shine.
That is so cool.
And then the print also has a shine on it as well, but the yellow is matte. But it's just beautiful. And then her new book coming out is blue with sort of the similar kind of effects. Just really, their cover design on her books are beautiful.
I'm all over that. I totally need to get a copy. And I want it in print because I want that shiny.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I really, really like it. I've already started trying to shove it at my daughter, and she wants none of my book recommendations.
They don't want anything from us when they're a teenager, do they?
They just don't care. Yours aren't that old yet, Jessica, are they?
No, mine are too young for that.
They're so cute.
Just wait.
They're so cute.
So I am reading, and this just literally just arrived last week. And so I'm I don't know, 50 pages in or something. Little Pieces of Me by Alison Hammer. And it's about a mom, a woman who gets pregnant and in the 70s. And that's one of the threads. And then there are all these sort of secretive things that happen. And then the other thread is, it's a dual timeline, is the daughter who discovers that her dad isn't who she thought he was because of a DNA test. Mm-hmm. And so she sort of uncovers what happened with her mom. It's not a suspense novel, but it's it's women's fiction, if you will, or just mainstream fiction with a great story. And so far, I'm absolutely loving it. It's Alison's second book, and she's actually going to be joining us too in a few weeks. So
like 2 weeks from now.
Is it? Okay, yeah. And she's delightful. So she'll be
she's on the 6th, I think.
Okay. So yeah, it's up for pre-order now, and I think it releases on the 6th or the 13th, something like that. So
I just got my copy of that as well from her. Cool. I have not dug in yet, but we just did a giveaway together. We did a DNA book giveaway because both of our books focus on DNA, or start with a DNA test with an unexpected result. So we thought it would be fun to do a giveaway together, and we're going to do some kind of live stream on Instagram and talk about A Million Reasons Why and Little Pieces of Me in April.
Cool. So, love it.
She's awesome.
And then I always do an audiobook rec too. So I will go ahead and do that because I've started another one and I love it. And it's been really popular lately. Beach Read.
Beach Read.
I listened to that one too. I love that.
It's so good. I
blurbed it.
Through it. Oh, you did? Oh, so you got an early copy.
I got an early copy even before there were arcs. And I just want to say, I told Emily that the reason it did so well is because I blurbed it. So, just saying.
I believe it.
That is 100% why.
Fairy dust. You have fairy dust in your fingers. Yeah. So it's a little sarcastic, funny here and there, rom-com, but there's some depth to it. It's these two writers that meet. Writers love reading about other writers. It's fun.
We do.
Or bookshops, But I'm halfway through it. Of course, Julia Whalen is the narrator, and I love anything that she does.
She's fantastic.
I'm waiting for her to win one of those Audie Awards. Mm-hmm. She hasn't yesterday or the day before. She didn't win, but I just keep kind of hoping for her because if I see her name on the audio, like on the details, I immediately buy the book.
100%.
So, yeah,
agree.
So what you're saying is I need to request her.
Yes, yes, we do. We all need to request her.
Yes.
I suspect she's a very busy woman, but yeah, it's terrific. So,
excellent,
ladies. Next, we want to hear a little bit more, Jessica, about your book. So it released today.
Yep.
Tell us what it's called one more time. Could you tell us a tiny bit about it? And we'd also like to know, something interesting or fun or behind the scenes that it's not in all the copy. It's the good stuff. We want to hear the good stuff.
Yeah. So it's called A Million Reasons Why. And I did talk about it. I talked about it a lot in Bloom last week, superficially, because we did a week of a millions, but I didn't really get too in depth the backstory. So random. If you look at the cover, I just happened to notice there's this blurb from Jodi Picoult.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed that until now.
Weird.
She's like my hero. It was like one of my favorite days of my entire life. Was the day that Jodi Picoult emailed me and said she read the whole thing in one sitting on a flight. Remember when we could take flights?
I do.
Yeah.
Back in that day.
Back in the time. Yes. Back when Jodi Picoult could safely get on an airplane, she read this manuscript on an airplane in one sitting and sent me the kindest note and the kindest blurb. And I just love, I already would have bought anything she ever wrote, but now I love her forever even more.
Yay, Jodi. She just has excellent taste. So there we go.
Exactly.
And I've never read her.
No. Neither have I.
What?
I haven't either.
Oh, you haven't either. Oh, dun dun dun. I know that she's a queen.
I have books. I just haven't read them yet.
And I haven't because I just haven't. She has quite a backlist, and I'm
ladies.
I know
you're making your way through all this fiction. It takes a while, and she's definitely on my list. I just haven't got there yet. So okay,
and for me, it's
okay.
I don't write books like hers, so
a lot of
and I don't have time to read for fun anymore.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you're going to read one Jodi Picoult novel, one of my favorites is My Sister's Keeper. That's an old one, and it actually has some similar themes to this book.
Yes,
and she also has a gorgeous World War II full timeline novel called The Storyteller. So if you're in the mood for more of a historical, Heather Webb.
Yes, that's me.
The Storyteller. Okay. So anyway, I'm holding up my book, but I'm selling Jodi Picoult's books, and that's fine.
That's okay because Jodi Picoult will now sell your books.
She is trying to help me sell my books, which is so nice.
Yes,
and today she tweeted, I already read it and loved it about this book. And I was like, I already read and loved everything you ever did, including this tweet, especially this tweet. Anyway, that's enough fangirling.
I love it.
So A Million Reasons Why is about two adult women going about their own lives, living in several states apart. One is in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I actually live. And one is in this beautiful little artisan town called Brevard, North Carolina.
I love Brevard.
You've been to Brevard?
I have. I've hiked there. I've camped there.
So one of the sisters lives there in Brevard, and one lives in Cincinnati, and they're linked as half sisters by a mail-in DNA test. So one of them, Sela, the one who lives in North Carolina, she always knew that she had more family potentially out there. She was raised by a single mother. Never knew her father, so she didn't know whether she had siblings or not, but she took the test knowing that there was more family to be found, potentially. Whereas the other woman, Caroline, she's a mom of 3. She's very tight with her own parents and with her in-laws. It's kind of family where everybody gets together for dinner every Sunday night, and the grandparents will pick the kids up from soccer if she can't make it, and everything's totally normal, no secrets. And they have taken a DNA test as a lark, as a Christmas gift altogether, putting no thought into it, that this could potentially
blow up,
open any kind of can of worms. It was more like, I wonder what % Irish we are, And so she gets this bombshell email from a woman who is her same exact age. And she's like, well, how can this be? This can't be right. We can't have the same father. And confronts her parents. And from there, everything
sounds awesome.
goes crazy.
It does sound awesome.
Oh, I'm so intrigued by it. And even in Bloom, when I really and on any Facebook page, when I mention that the book starts with unexpected DNA test results, there are always people in the comments without fail who say, oh my gosh, that happened to me, or that happened to my sister, or not my sister, that wouldn't make sense. That happened to my best friend from high school, that happened to my neighbor. Everybody knows somebody who's had some kind of unexpected result from these tests, whether it's a little itty bitty, like, we've been having this giant Irish breakfast on St. Patrick's Day every year in my family for 80 years, and it turns out we're not Irish, you know, or, I mean, right, there are families that are like, somewhere down the line, some lore got distorted. Or something like, I mean, there are some really wild real life stories out there. There's like a town where an OBGYN fathered like a ton of the kids in the town, as it turns out.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's bad. My favorite is that they caught like the Golden State Killer through, or some big killer through DNA.
Really?
Like some relative of his had done a DNA test and they were able to trace it back to him. So that's why I never want to get one, because I don't want, if I do any future murders, I don't want to be convicted.
You're not going to be convicted if you didn't kill anybody.
Well, no, I'm just all contingencies. Got to plan ahead.
You got to plan ahead. Well, I mean, I definitely think they should not be taken lightly. You know, like there are some interesting implications, and I don't know, I guess as a storyteller, it just interests me that they can turn up the sort of thing that no one ever would have imagined when these indiscretions took place 35, 40 years ago. You never would have imagined that that could be discovered, not only turned up by a test, but like turned up by a test that is very inexpensive and easily accessible to like everybody and popular.
And cause this huge ripple effect. But what great stories though because of that. I mean, obviously not in real life. It's much more difficult, but for book writing, it's great.
Well, oh my gosh. Well, if you read enough of them, you just think like, why would I even try to make up a story? Because it's a total fact is stranger than fiction kind of situation. There's already so many. All you have to do is get on Reddit. There's so many crazy stories out there. But what I wanted to do was, what I noticed was that there are two camps of people. There's the people who, and especially like with families of adopted children, this isn't addressed in my book, but it can be really meaningful for them to be able to do these tests. So there's people who take the test looking for something, and if they find it, it's an answered prayer. And then there's the people who take the test not expecting to find anything and maybe find out something that they wish they didn't know, but they can't unknow it. So you have, you know, the answered prayer people, and you have the totally blindsided by this people. And I thought it would be interesting to write a story where we start out with one half sister in each camp, and then something happens after they meet to make them actually switch their stance, where the person who reached out maybe starts to wish that she didn't reach out, and the person who thought it was a bad thing maybe starts to think that she wanted to know these things about their, and then so are they going to come together? Are they going to come over to the same side? Are they going to pursue this or not? And in my story, the sister who pursued the test has a medical reason for doing that. She's in chronic kidney failure and is looking for more family members because there's a possibility that she's going to need a kidney donor. But she, of course, doesn't want to like approach this woman and be like, hey, I think you might be my sister. And by the way, I think I might need a kidney. So
got a spare kidney?
Yeah, she's like completely uncomfortable. She's not even sure that she wants to say anything. She just allows herself to be talked into taking this test, basically because she has this curiosity about meeting her sister as a person. She's not sure she's ever really going to want to. She doesn't even want to tell her that she's sick. She's intensely uncomfortable with the situation. So it's the story very, very quickly gets very complicated, and it's a it's a whole tangle of moral dilemmas. And I think it really makes you wonder what you would do if you were in each sister's shoes, and it is the kind of story that is happening, maybe not specifically that, but stuff like that is really happening.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah.
And I love the cover on that book.
I do
Thank you very much.
So
I like it too.
I'm going to stop you for a second because we had some great comments. A couple who want to invite you to their book club possibly, or maybe it's all of us. I'm not sure, but I think it's you and your book. We have Love You Ladies. Well, we love you too.
Yay.
Blue. Okay. There's a contact page on my website for me to virtually come to your book club. It's just jessicastrawser.com. Click the little contact button and you can email me. And
can my book club just be me? Just do a Zoom
We're
call.
in it right now, Amy.
Do I have to read your book if I do that? I'm just kidding.
Can we just drink wine at that book club?
Yeah, we could.
That's what most book clubs do.
That is true. Those are the best kind of book clubs.
Yeah.
My book club drinks wine and does the books, but we're hardcore about it, but it's a 2-hour slot. So we talk hardcore about an hour and then the other hour is like fun and drinking and eating and hanging out. But
and you're reading hardcore fiction?
We read I didn't put that well, did I? That's not what it sounds like.
It's a hardcore book club.
No.
Invite only.
Like we seriously read. We read every single month and it's legit. We bring like reviews printed out and book club questions and
that's awesome.
That's not a magical unicorn. It actually does exist, that kind of book club. We've got it going on. I'm one of 12. So there are 12 of us. Yeah. Yeah, it's I love it. I love them so much. They're my posse. And none of them are writers, which is kind of cool because I get this whole other perspective on their view of books and reading and what's interesting and what sells and all that stuff. It's cool.
I miss talking to readers in person so much. I mean, being able to talk to readers online is great, but I used to visit a lot of book clubs in person. I wasn't a member of one, but I would visit. If people would invite me, if they had, a substantial, if it wasn't just Amy, if they had at least 10 people and it was drivable from my house, I would go.
Yeah, same.
And
yeah, definitely. So,
and I feel like I did learn a lot and I just really enjoyed it.
Well, I think we're turning a corner. We'll eventually, I think so. I think even by the end of the year, we might be getting back to some of that. So
I'm vaccinated.
Oh, you go, girl.
That's right.
I'm not eligible for another couple of weeks, and then I'm setting my alarm for midnight, and I'm gonna get up and get on that site. I am not messing around. I want to get a vaccine like ASAP.
I got my first shot. I got my first one on Friday, so I still have a ways to go, but the end is in sight.
Yeah.
Yes,
I got the Johnson & Johnson, so I was one and done. So I was very, very, very happy. And stalk your county. Your county probably has a system set up as well. That's where I got mine.
That's a good point. I need to do that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes.
So ladies, we're getting close to finishing time here already because we obviously love just talking to each other.
No, we chatted too much.
No, never. But before we go, I would like to hear one very quick, and let's make it quick so we don't, keep our people too long. What I want to talk a little bit about, do people ask you if you base your characters on someone you know in real life? And I think each of us has a little something for that. I know I have something.
We all have a good story about this. I think people all like, no matter what I write a novel about, maybe this is just everybody, but it seems like people always want to know if the novel like really happened to you, which.
No.
So with this one, I did not anticipate how many people would be like, well, have you taken a DNA test? And
have you?
I have not. No, that wasn't part of my impetus for writing the story, but it's interesting, especially some of these events. Like, I'm like, people are taking these tests. You never know. Like, I know my parents are logged on watching and I'm like, you think you know a person, but really, and my mom and dad are probably like looking at it. Anywho, they're like, hope she doesn't take that test. Good thing she hasn't taken it yet. But so when I released my first novel, I had this like throwaway character bad ex-boyfriend, like a horrible, like just a nasty breakup kind of situation. He's literally mentioned in like one paragraph where the girl is in one of the flashback scenes. She is like crying in the bathroom at work because of this mean-spirited breakup with this guy. And I named him Matt because it just seemed like a generic
Matt
guy's name. Yeah, so this guy, Matt, who went to college with me, messaged me one night. And we never dated, but we like, it was one of those things where we maybe like thought about it for a minute, but we never actually dated.
I can see where this is going, and it's not good.
Right. So he messaged me and he was like, I just want to say, like, if I ever hurt you, I'm so sorry. If I like, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, you named this character. And I was like, never even entered my mind, you know, not based on you, obviously. Not based on you. And he had the perfect response. He wrote back and it just said, I'm so vain.
That is good. That's very good. Well done, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So now whenever I'm writing a novel, if I have like this throwaway person who's gonna like say die in a motorcycle accident, I will name them Matt. Always.
So we can look for all the Matts in your book.
You should.
In your
That's
book.
great.
Plural. Amy, what's your story? Did you have you named anybody?
I have a couple. Probably the one that makes me giggle the most is in my very first book. There's a character named John, and he's a secondary character. He is the style editor at the newspaper, but he looks kind of like a caveman married a homeless person. He just dresses very slovenly, and he has like long outgrown hair and a bushy beard. And then at the end of the book, he has a makeover where he turns out to be an incredibly handsome man. And my brother-in-law thought that was him.
But
I don't know his brother-in-law.
I don't know which side or what it was, but he was convinced that he was the John character.
Are you sure that he was not?
He was not. In fact, I intentionally I try very hard to not have characters based on real people. There's only one exception, and that is my son. There's a 9-year-old boy in Simplicity of Cider, and that is based very much so on my son. Because 9-year-old boys are so sweet and adorable, and I wanted to capture that because now he's 14 and he's different.
And he's not 9 anymore.
He's not 9 anymore.
Might I suggest that if you had a John in every novel, no one would notice? I've heard.
True. You're correct. Except for my husband, whose name is John.
Oh.
So then he would definitely notice. Why am I in all of your books? Why is some iteration to be always in your book?
Why am I always a caveman?
So I actually purposefully, I did have a friend ask me if there was a character based on her, and it wasn't at all. And I'm not really sure why she wanted to be this character, because it was not a well-behaved character. So, no, I told her no, but I have intentionally twice done it. Once in my debut, Becoming Josephine, I had my hairstylist, whom I adore, Justin Wilson. If you're looking for one in the Connecticut area, he's amazing. And I love him, and we are friends. And sometimes we go out and have happy hour together too. But he's been following my books and you know, so great about it. And I said, I gave you a role, Justin. And he was over the moon. He kept stacks of bookmarks. I had a brain fart there for a second. Stacks of bookmarks in his salon, like on the little ledge. So when people would come in, he would give them a bookmark and be like, I am the star of this book.
Oh, very smart, Heather.
He had a little cameo where he was dyeing Josephine's hair before the coronation, I believe it is. And then I did one other, my grandmother, her name is Alberta Di Vittorio. Her family's from Sicily. And my new book coming up, The Next Ship Home, that's out in February, there is a nun sort of in the backstory. And I named her Sister Alberta based on my grandmother. So who's 93. But those are both like little, like, I love you, I'm giving you a little spotlight kind of thing. So no crazy stories for me. Just mushy.
That's all right. Mushy's good.
Yes.
Mushy.
So
I like putting in those little tiny Easter eggs. I do
too.
A lot of my characters' surnames, like their last names in my book, are after my college dorms. As like a little nod to my college.
How interesting. Oh, I love it. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I like that.
Very clever.
I like that.
Ms. Strawser. Well, ladies, we are up at time here.
We
I
are
could keep talking to you for like another 2 hours, but on that note, Jessica, thank you for coming. Anyone who leaves a comment will be entered to win a copy of her new novel that just released today. And I think that's all we've got. Next week, we're going to see you from the brand new Bloom page.
Yes.
And Amy's actually out of town that day, but I have 3 other guests. I heard there might be a tarot reading. So you're going to want to be here. You're definitely going to want to be here.
If I remember, I may slip into the comments and troll them.
Do it.
If I remember.
All right, ladies. Have a good night. Have a good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.